All right, welcome into the program. Bobby Carpenter Show here with my guy, Anthony Schlegel.
We're live!
Big show for you today, just slowly grinding away, Schlegs, as we recover. And still celebrating this and basking in the glow of this championship for the Buckeyes that happened a couple of days ago. It'll be a whole week of celebrations. We're going to get our guy Lathan Ransom on, probably get some other guys as well. Really be able to hang out and really kind of enjoy and figure out what some of our winter programming is going to look like and how that's going to be here moving forward. But big day today. We're going to have our guy, Mr. AJ Hawk, on Wednesday, as always. Wednesdays are for AJ. I had to go a little bit earlier today just with some of the scheduling and everything that's going on. So I was in the weight room earlier today, and they've got the young fellas in there that are starting to get their work in, and as they're going back to ooze guys in, if you will. And the younger dudes, obviously it's going to be a new calendar, Schlegs, as you look at it, because I don't think they've ever been in a situation before where guys have played this many games, and then you have all these transfer guys coming in, then you have the mid-year guys coming in, and so you've got to find a way to get them ready to play, especially the younger guys who are coming in from high school, and get them prepared and toughened up and ready to go. So there's just a lot of dynamics, a lot of variables that, Mickey Moriarty, the strength staff, and Ryan Day are still trying to work through and trying to figure out. So there's some challenges uniquely that they're going to have to solve right there. But then there's some of the guys in the training room, and getting a chance to see Schlegs, it was unbelievable. Some of the footage from security cameras. I think some of this was maybe down in Atlanta where some of the dudes were maybe partying and hanging out, of maybe going over the bar, getting in and, getting some refreshments for themselves there in the post-game celebrations. And then the videos from Monday night, I think most of them are from Monday, maybe some are from last night too, I don't know. But of the bar scene in Columbus, Ohio, and, like Pine House and Town Hall and these places up and down High Street. I mean, it looked like the best parts of college when I was in school. I mean, people standing up, spraying champagne all over everyone at the bar, just unrelenting celebrations. I mean, hell, people broke in, I guess, to the shoe. I don't know if they tried to tear the goalpost down, which you need probably a bulldozer to pull that thing out of the ground now. They're cemented in there so deep. But, man, it was it's awesome. And just to see all of the stuff happening has been pretty darn remarkable.
It's freaking awesome. Buckeyes. I hope that they let them in. I mean,
let them in what?
To the shoe,
They broke in.
Hey, it's a celebration. That's our guy from the Chappelle Show, right? It's a celebration, bitches. Buckeyes. That's hey, to each their own. Go break in there, and why not? I honestly think it would have been a cool experience to watch it in the shoe. Even though it was like sub-freezing temperatures, put the lights on, get some DJs in there, bring in your own hype music, let Paul Keels call the game, and play it on the Jumbotron. That would have been kind of cool.
That would have been pretty remarkable. I mean, it would have been a big undertaking. I don't know how many folks you could have got to stay out there, Schlegs, in those sub temps. It would have been
you got Carhartt, man. I mean, we're from Ohio.
Yeah, I get
we're
that.
Ohio boy.
You'd be sitting there for 4 hours watching
drinking some refreshments, warming up your body.
Some libations.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Keeping it steamy. Listen, here's the thing, though. That's what it's all about. It's about you're celebrating that the work is done and you are the one that accomplished the mission. So however they went about doing that, whether it's on campus or afterward, right? However it is, it's all good because you're the champs. Let's go back to your point. Something they've never done. It's something they've never done that has gone on this long. So we won the national championship in 2014, and somebody put out the damn graphic. Get it right. It's the 2024 season. They're not the 2025 national champs. No. It was won in 25. Yes, it's for the 24 season. So I saw that people continue to make that mistake. Terrible. It wasn't since 14 where you had a season that went this long. We played on the 1st, you played on the 12th, and then you ooze in. And what we talked about, the guys that are already going in that have been practicing slightly, guys, they've already been on a modified like 3-day split going. Now it's just like, all right, you're back. We traveled back this week. You're probably going to get 2 or 3 in, and then it's go time for a lot of those guys. Because, yes, it's a long season in practice, but you haven't had the wear and tear. The one thing I don't know, Bob, is where does spring ball fit in this calendar? So I do know, I believe, it's like March 17th week of. You know that prior to that week, you're probably going to have your first week of spring football. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're ramping everything up. Remember, 6 pounds of shit in a 3-pound bag for that ramp up of that time. So you take that, we're already on the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken today. Poof, David Copperfield, I am correct. That's like 7 weeks until go time. So you got to think about, all right, there's 7, and obviously that first 7 is a modified 7. So you got 6 weeks. So how do I ooze the guys in that have played thousands of reps throughout the season into that? They're probably going to have like a 2-week ramp up, doing certain things that are different than the other guys, and then it's going to be full-fledged, locked and loaded for 4 weeks, maybe 4.5, 5. And that's it. That's all you get. And then you're in literally full speed football mode contact after spring break. That's just the way it is right now. Tupac song. So until we change and do it the way the portal should be done, and honestly change into where you're going to have OTAs. And I think here's the deal. If you're worth your salt as a coach, you can make this flip. You can make this switch and still get your guys a quality of reps, bringing them in over that time period. You just got to be a really efficient and effective coach doing it.
I will second that. One other thing I forgot to mention here, Schlegs. Yesterday we had a bit of a curveball at the end of the show. Believe me, I appreciate you. We've got getting some unbelievable viewership here. So please like, subscribe, make sure you leave your comments. I got to get the chat pulled up. Schlegs, the chat gets wild.
I already got it. I'm already deep into it, man. You guys know that.
And so McAfee was texting me, and the show is calling in. They're relentless, and AJ's here in the queue waiting to get on, so we'll get to him here.
Bump him. You calling our show? No, yeah. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We got
Pat called in, and so she's like, "How was it?" I went and hopped on with Pat, so I'm still watching you. You shut my video down, and I couldn't hear you, but I was watching you go through some of the different things. How was your maiden voyage as a solo host on the show?
I don't give a shit, man. I just talk shop, And everybody's out there. I didn't even get to answer their questions because my mind, like a schizophrenic cat, I just started looking at all the stuff that you and I pull up, and I can rip on those things all day talking about, what these guys have done and the leadership. And we talked about Ryan and the Rats and the mindset of going in there day in and day out. And, again, you guys got to understand, like, the reason I like doing this, especially with you, Bob, is you and I are both very unique in the fact that we played we played in college, we played in the pros. I have a unique perspective that I coached in college and I coached in the pros. We both have owned businesses. You and I both have MBAs. I got patents. Like, it's how does this all fit in life, in the stories that carry on to make all these things applicable and like to teach our children. And, I talked about when I was on Westside, I became a better strength coach because I coached my son's baseball team. How about that? That's real, because I started to figure out this generation, and these guys crave everything that the older generation had, or what we perceived was harder, right? But it's because it was just coached different. And I think you coach it a little differently for them, guess what, man? Like, you're going to get the same results, and they crave it. And that's what you saw in this team. So anyways, people, I appreciate you. Yes, I was gas station ready, Waffle House ready, 4 minutes, just going absolutely crazy. So I appreciate everybody that stayed in and listened. Right, I appreciate you, Bob, for doing your job and taking the call to give me some extra reps. That was a +2 culture rep right there.
It was a culture builder for you, Schlegs. I pushed you out in the boat, and I said, it's time to go. You got to figure it out, dude. Sink or swim.
Figure it out.
You'll be getting it going. It was fun watching Kenny train some of the young guys today. As that goes, we'll talk a little bit more.
Hey, what is the line that you dropped on the Pat McAfee show? Bill Evans said it's the best line I've ever heard. He needs to repeat it here.
All
What
right,
did you
so throw
say
this
there?
out, folks. This is it. And it came to me. It's amazing because it came to me after the game. I think I was there with Dom, and I somehow, when we were doing the post game, I somehow remembered it the next day. But they're talking about Ryan Day and like, does this get him off the hot seat? And this and that. The people in Michigan, I'm like, there's always going to be the people out there who want to live on Misery Island, Schlegs, and they're the grievance police, and they're always going to find something that you want to be upset about. And they can talk. Does this season have an asterisk by it? Was it,
Sam Dick? They say
believe
that
me,
shit.
it's a whole. Believe me, I get it. And they're going to say, is there something surrounding it, a caveat, if you will, because they didn't win the Big Ten, they beat Michigan. Like, that's fine. Those people continue to be irrational. They can continue to be miserable. They'll find something to complain about. They're always going to be disappointed. I'm going to go and sit here and enjoy this national championship. And the line that I ultimately dropped out there that just came to me, I said, Schlegs, nothing cools down a hot seat quite like a Gatorade bath. And, I mean, I don't know if there's a better elixir to cool down that hot seat for Ryan Day as he soaked that thing in. And, man, I couldn't figure out why. I gave him a hug after the game. I'm like, man, he must be sweating pretty bad. He was soaked, but I guess that was some of the Gatorade too that he had there. All right, we got AJ coming up. We don't make him wait anymore. And honestly, that's the content that everybody wants to see anyway. See those nice pearly whites that he's got. And
God, so nice. His hair is so full too.
Absolutely, he's looking great. He's like a modern day Bradley Cooper, just hanging around out here. But parents and athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouthguards, trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouthguards are scientifically tested to absorb those high impact hits, protecting both your teeth, like we talked about, and your brain. Export mouthguards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including patented use of carbon fiber. They 3D print those things custom fitted to your unique grill. That is for more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby today and save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. AJ Hawk coming up next.
Woo!
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you tune in.
I love you, Cleveland.
All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. Now we're pleased to welcome in our guy, Mr. Aaron James Hawk, down there doing the MegaCast with McAfee, breaking it all down. Age, how was everything in Atlanta? Was it as good as it was there last time a couple years ago?
Oh man, now this getting a win obviously was much better. Made it a better experience. My car didn't get broken into and the windows smashed out. But I wanted to pop back. I was connected when you had doing your export read and talking about the great mouthpiece and the great company, and obviously we know the people there are great. I just wonder if they appreciate Schlegs doing the whistle, for like 45 seconds of the read throughout, so you probably can't really get the message across exactly what you're trying to talk about.
What are you talking about? Of course they got the message. First off, we're testing everything, man. Are your ears working appropriately? Guess what? They'll work better if your mouth is good, because then you're not a mouth breather, so you can hear. You know what I'm saying? They want clear communication. Okay. Right? Like, we tested all this stuff in here, man. Everybody's ready.
Everybody's ready. I get it.
And that's part of the show. That's part of hey, AJ, we're testing the people that want to sponsor this show. Like, do you really want to be about this life? Real truck, garage beer. We play your damn commercial all the time. Like, we're going to test you too. Anyways, I love it, man. Your teeth look fantastic. Tell us about your experience. You're down there. You're calling a game. You're alma mater. You're invested, right? The cool thing is, like, our kids are growing up watching these guys, which was us a long ass time ago, right? And so you're invested in AJ. Tell us, like, the feel on the field, communicating, talking with Pat, your emotions. Go.
Oh, it was awesome, man. I stood in the end zone where the Buckeyes ran out. I was in that end zone the whole time watching from that angle, and it was cool, man. Like, just being there pregame, seeing everything, like feeling like the anticipation of it, and then being there throughout the game and how Notre Dame fought back and made it a game towards the end. It was wild. It was awesome to be there, though. Like, those dudes were running, those dudes were hitting. Like, it was a physical game as well. I was impressed by both sides, but man, it's cool to see. It was really awesome to be there and kind of witness the moment and see, like, how much it means to all these dudes as well. Because, yeah, we've been watching their journey throughout their time in Ohio State, and especially the seniors, it's cool to see them, kind of live out their dreams and feel awesome for Coach Day and the rest of that staff, man. They did an awesome job. And it was just, I was very lucky to be there. And I'm glad. I can't wait to watch them try to do it again next year.
How cold was that tunnel when you were walking through that thing?
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of walking up the tunnel to class by the old RPAC when they would break that wind tunnel from the Schlegs doesn't know about this. He lived 40 minutes away and was taking online classes before they had online classes. But we would walk up that tunnel from the dorms, and it was that crazy wind tunnel. It was always so cold, and that's exactly what I thought of when I started walking through those tunnels at the stadium out there.
Dude, I saw the police officer was like in the corner, and the dude's just standing there like eating it. And so folks, they would like open the garage doors in the loading bays, and that wind was just howling through the 4 little like corner spots. And the one cop, he goes, "Yeah, they said I got to take my coat off when I start the game too." I'm like, "Dude, you might die of hypothermia. Like, this is a 50-degree, like 20-mile-an-hour wind just smoking you in the face for the next 4 hours."
Yeah, it was cold for Ohio people, I think. Like, it wasn't just like, hey, this is cold for people in the South. It was plenty cold for me, man.
Yeah, it's cold down here. I mean, hell, man, they're showing I-10 in Florida in the Panhandle. People are throwing snowballs. It's crazy. Global warming, man. It's gone. Here we go. The South, you got cold, you got snow. All right, so talk to us a little bit about the game, turning points. Just your thought on Notre Dame, the first drive. Like, what were you feeling? And then boom, Ohio State comes back. Like, let's get a snapshot of the Hawkster, Aaron James Hawk on the game here.
Yeah, that first drive was nuts. It was 18 plays.
18 plays, 9:45.
Man, Riley Leonard, and I guess they said he came off and he puked on the sideline after that drive. I think I don't know if he was dealing with illness or not. I guess that was rumored that it was going around their team. But Riley Leonard is that dude's tough as nails, man. Like, he carried the ball many times in that first drive. He had to be like, I was just thinking of all like the what you call it, adrenaline dump. Like, after all that anticipation lead up and you have that huge drive, like, can you imagine his legs had to feel like complete jello after that drive, let alone his upper body and his head getting banged around the whole game. Like, it was impressive to see what Notre Dame did and came out. But I always know, like, everybody that's played, there's sometimes you just kind of get into the flow of the game and you kind of have to settle in. And Notre Dame came out and they had an unbelievable first drive. I knew the defense would eventually settle down. They did on the next drive, but the offense coming out and having a nice little drive and putting 7 on the board, I think for us was huge, because if you go 3 and out right there and you put your defense right back on the field, Notre Dame, if they found a way to go up 2 scores, it would have been tough early on. I know. I never really was too worried, even though, as a fan, when you have no say over what can do, you have nothing, you can't control anything on the field. That's when I am nervous. Like, when you're at your kids' games or whatever, when like, hey, I just want to go out there and make some plays or hit somebody, do something. You're never nervous when you can actually do something. So I get anxious for him on the sidelines, but it was awesome to see too that 3rd and 11 that Will completes to Jeremiah Smith, being down there on the field and seeing. I was at the back end zone. I'm watching that thing, and I could see like Jeremiah's out there, and we had just run the ball a few times, and I didn't know if we were just going to run it again and try to make them burn timeouts. And I see Will drop back, and I saw that ball in the air, and I saw the separation he had, and I was thinking in my brain, like, that's such a difficult ball to catch for a guy, like, for any receiver. That ball was in the air for an hour. It felt like, I know, as an Ohio State fan, if you're Jeremiah running, you have like this although it's one of the easiest catches in theory to make, I think when the ball is hanging in the air that long, and yet if you allow that moment to creep into your brain, that's not an easy ball to catch. So I gave him credit for making that catch, holding on to it. And then obviously the field goal was awesome watching that thing go through, because then like, okay, this is most likely we have it taken care of.
Like you said, making that catch for Jeremiah. Plus, Will, he beat him so bad. Those are almost the layups. It's like, dude, just don't throw it out of bounds. Don't underthrow it so severely. Make sure he can catch it. And I didn't get a chance to see him. I was opposite of you, Age. I was down the Notre Dame tunnel on the Ohio State sideline. So I just saw him release the ball. And I'm like, oh, dude, this is what we're doing. The 3rd and 11, like we're taking the shot. And then you just see the Ohio State fans behind you just erupt. I'm like, all right, well, we're going. I was like right beside Nina Day. I'm thinking, oh gosh, like you got my arm around it. Like we caught that. I was like, it's over. We got it. Like we're going to get a field goal no matter what. That's the game. And, we're in a good spot. You talked about that long drive. And Age, I remember something we used to talk about in college, like settling into the game. I couldn't wait to go out and get the first 3 and out and then come off the field, because I always felt exhausted right away. And I needed that first drive. And I kept looking at those guys seemed like they wanted to get to the sideline. Just let me sit down and settle in and get your heart rate back down. And they could never get that chance. And all I was thinking about is Fick used to yell at us, your legs feel heavy, because you just don't get that chance to relax and then settle in. And then after that, you're good. But 10 minutes is a freaking meat grinder.
Yeah, especially to come it's national championship. There's so much going into it. Yeah, there's so much energy just around that you're feeling. You just want to get that thing going. You're right. The ideal situation is okay, your team defers. Oh, cool. We get to start the game on defense. Here we go. Maybe they run the ball. You stop for 1 or 2 yards, and you get to make a couple hits. You get to get it some contact. You get to get in on a couple plays, and boom, 3 and out, they punt, because then you come back and you regroup, and it's like, okay, here we go. This is what we've been doing all year, and you get comfortable. So yeah, it's cool to see how many different ways they've been able to win too. You got to be able to handle adversity, man, and they've definitely had plenty of it, but they all stepped up in the biggest moments when it actually mattered.
Yeah, and that's where it's they remember throughout the year we talked about starting slow. The playoffs, they started fast. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about the middle 8. They won the middle 8 in this game, predominantly won the middle 8 of every game. And talk a little bit about this run, AJ, because we know how hard it is to play this. And I keep going back. There's a stat. What was it? I don't know. 23 times they're in the red zone, 9 times they came up with 0 points defensively. That's just amazing in and of itself. But talk a little bit about how impressed you are with this run where you beat Indiana, Penn State, Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame. That's crazy talk.
It is. I mean, you had to win, just in the playoffs alone, you have to win 4 big-time bowl games back to back to back to back. That's just that run, thinking of coming off the crazy regular season they had to do that. I think each week, and I was lucky enough to be at all of them, thinking of the momentum and also the outside maybe pressure or anxiety that people try to put on the team, I think is nuts, because every single week it gets bigger and bigger and the momentum keeps rolling, and you start to realize, hey, we're really close to doing something pretty historic. This would be amazing. So I give credit to the players for not letting any of that creep in. They've all the whole time in the college football playoffs, they just seemed in control. They never freaked out. They never panicked no matter what was going on. And like you said earlier, they got out to a fast start pretty much every single game. And that, I think, helps with the momentum of that. You realize, hey, let's get on these dudes early and never let up.
Educate people. Hey, real quick, Bob, educate people, because you won a Super Bowl, came in as a wild card. Mm-hmm. And you went and won a Super Bowl. Let's compare that team, right? That emotion, that mindset when you guys were making that run to a Super Bowl, and what you saw from Ohio State this year in 2024 going to the college football playoff.
Yeah, I mean, the path was kind of similar. I mean, the year that we won the Super Bowl in Green Bay, when I was there, we barely squeaked into the playoffs. We had to win our last 2 regular season games. We got in as a wild card, and we had to go on the road and win 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl. So it was every week we win our first one, and I remember thinking that we went to Philly, beat Philly, and it was nice. We felt this is, of course, we had so much momentum, and we felt really good about where we were. I knew when I heard with 2 games left in the regular season, I thought we might be mathematically out of it, or we needed help or whatever. And I remember someone, a media guy, telling me, hey, how does it feel knowing if you win your last 2, you're in? And I was like, is that true? Do we know this for sure? And he said, yeah. And once I heard that, I was okay. We're good. That's all we need. Just all we need is I don't want to have to rely on anybody else. Like we're going to take care of business. And I feel like that's kind of what this Ohio State team felt like coming out. I guess I don't know if Shakes, yeah, you were there at the Tennessee game, weren't you?
No, I watched the whole thing.
Okay, Bob was there. Bob was there, and I don't know about you, Bob, but being out there on the field for that Tennessee game, first off, it was awesome being cold and in the shoe and all that. But it felt, I don't know, the team felt like it felt a little different. Like, I don't know, they just felt like this is where they were supposed to be. They felt like they were pissed off, like they had a chip on their shoulder, no question. And it just felt like I remember I saw James in warmups. And of that game, and I told James, like, you're gonna smoke these dudes, like you're gonna kill these guys, like you'll win by 100. Like I remember being on the sidelines, and I was like pissed off for them. I'm like I just felt like an energy from all of them, and it was awesome. I remember watching Jack Sawyer takes his helmet off as Tennessee's walking into the locker room, and he just stands there right in their face, like talking to all of them, every player coming back, and then there's this awesome lady next to me yelling just. Not like terrible things, but just like offensive things to dudes, telling guys, are you guys a JV team? Your arms are too small to be in college football. Like this lady she was killing the Tennessee dudes with like stuff that like my kids would tell me when they tell me I'm slow and small and old and I can't move. Like it was stuff like that she was saying to these dudes. And like, I just felt something. I was pumped. Like I was ready to play after being there. And I feel like they never looked back. Like they jumped on Tennessee early and then bam, the rest is history. And they found a way to stay focused for all that time and find a way to finish the job.
Yeah, that's it's pretty remarkable. And I was with you, AJ. Like you said, you could see like they were a pissed off team, man. Like there was anger, and Jack like personified that right there, obviously on the sideline. All right, so we got a couple questions I'm going to fire to AJ here in the chat that are coming from the good folks. Number one, they said Pat said you were like a little emotional after the game. I mean, what was that like? I mean, how emotional? I know we get fired up for obviously a big Buckeye win.
Well, I mean, I didn't really let myself get emotional. I definitely could have, no question. I kind of felt them looking at me, and I like, you get older, like things like affect you differently, I think. Yeah. And before the game, the guys, all the guys they joked with me like, "Oh, you're gonna cry if Ohio State loses?" I was like, "Hell no!" I was like, "I don't cry if I'm sad." Like I tell my kids, like I cry when I'm happy. Like I don't remember the last time I cried because I was sad, maybe a death of somebody. But I told them, "The hell no!" Like there could be a chance I would cry if they win. And I didn't let myself go there completely, but I understand that. And I think I realized me being 41 now compared to like if I was 25 at that game, I guess I'd take the time. Like I soaked it all in. I looked around. I was like, this is awesome. And I was really happy for the dudes and for everybody there. And the fact that I'm not a part of it, but I got to be there and I played to Ohio State. I was like, yeah, this is awesome, man. I'm so pumped that I went to school there. I'm so pumped I'm a part of it.
Yeah, I've always known you to be a soaker too, so that's a big thing. Good for you. How did Brady take the loss?
I think Brady was all right. So he was in town a couple of days before, and then he left and he watched the game back home. My wife was watching the game with him and his kids. He got a brand new little baby he had last week, not even a week old now, but his fifth kid, by the way. Second, he's got 3 girls and 2 boys now, and doing
when
great.
You guys have your fifth? Laura wants to know.
I mean, hey, we're never. I'm not officially out of the game, but probably not. We don't see that happening. I don't know, but I think Brady handled it okay. I think Brady, I'm sure I haven't got to talk to him too much. He wanted to, he always wants to come up with different bets to make or whatever. So I think he owes me some nice whiskey or bourbon. And he said something. I think he wanted to golf somewhere if they lost. If Notre Dame win, he wanted me to take him golfing somewhere, even though he belongs to like 15 of the nicest country clubs in the country. So I guess I'm going to play with him somewhere now.
All right. And then final question before we get you out of here, Age. One of our guys is going to the old Hyde Park because people have always asked, where do you like to go for dinner? I'm like, we'll go downtown to Ruby's sometimes, but like for nice stuff too. Old Hyde Park, traditional right there off Old Henderson Road. Said, he's going to be there next Friday, his birthday. What's your order that you get?
Oh, man, that Hyde Park is the best. You've been there with Laura. We have dinners for my birthday there almost every year. That spot is what a great spot. Low ceilings, all that nice, intimate atmosphere, great food. I'm getting the filet. I might get 2 fillets, to tell you the truth. Or they have whatever the chicken is. What's the chicken that's kind of thin with like little crust on it? I don't know what it's called, but they give you like 5 or 6 big pieces of chicken. If you're hungry, definitely get that. And then they have Hyde Park, their salads and everything. You can't go wrong, man.
Yeah, when you and Courtney split a salad the one time we were there, that was pretty nice.
Of course, yeah. And then you finish it. Whatever we couldn't finish, then you take that, just like every other time. When you reach across and stab meat off their plate.
Well, you and Courtney didn't want like this and that. I think I split the salad with Laura, and then you split one with Courtney because you guys were like didn't want whatever little nonsense on there. So
yeah,
I was eating with like Hendrick, like I was eating with Axel, trying to curate his food. Well, great stuff, sir. We really appreciate it. So like, this chat's like opened up a whole new world. This is
bro, I told you, man. Like I just go in there and these are our people, man. I love you. Hey, everybody in the chat, I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Well,
I don't know what you
sir. Thank you for the time, and dude, kill it today on Pat. We'll talk again soon.
All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you.
That's our guy, Mr. Aaron James Hawk, doing a great job. The Lord's work. Hey, January 20th, huge day for Ohio State Buckeye fans, and a huge day for Ryan Day. We'll tell you why next.
The Big Play Sports Network. Download the free app today to watch all of your favorite hosts on demand.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like... I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer. All right, welcome back into the show. AJ does such a great job for us. So much fun. Gosh, burned up so much time.
Bob, you and I need to go. You and I need to just make a trip out to Indy and not necessarily be on the show, but just like be in the background, just like working out, just making loud noises. And then maybe like while they're doing the show, while we're doing the show, we could do like a drop set of something while they're speaking. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, back slaps, maybe heavy deadlifts. Yeah. I don't care.
I'll talk to Pat and see if we can get some weight equipment in the Thunderdome, So
no, they already got it. They already have it. I helped them build that gym.
Yeah, that's perfect. We can go there. Yeah, we'll just work out in the Thunderdome, and they can do dip-ins while we're going back and forth and doing manual biceps.
Be out there on the floor. We'll just be on the floor, like doing heavy-ass carries and shit or something. That would be amazing.
As I tease this, because this is something that's unbelievable, and this team is it's got a heavy hand of faith on them, and unbelievable young men, great human beings. And, I'm not going to tell people what to believe in life, but my grandma was a big believer that everything happens on God's time and it happens for a reason. And Ryan lost his father when he was 8 years old. He won his first national championship here on January 20th, the same date that his father passed away. And I heard that, man. I mean, Schlegs, I didn't even know what to freaking think, dude. That right there, the emotions that he probably has on that day now, like that's some powerful stuff, dude. That's some incredibly powerful things. And the dichotomy of the highs and the lows. And he's one heck of a dude. I could not be happier for him, and can't even imagine everything that he was going through on that morning.
We had the clip that you guys are showing right now on the deal with him standing there. There's another one on the IG that I put in there, and it's Josh Fryer picking him up, right? Yeah. Like lifting him up. All the dudes are behind him, and it's right after the Gatorade bath. That's the image that I like because, we all go through trials and tribulations in our life, and like just the joy that a coach and his players have, it's just something that is unique and special in and of itself through sports, why we love it. And Ryan has always talked about that it's always about the players. The reason he gets up is to help these guys achieve their goals. Does he have his own aspirations? 100%. But like you and I know Ryan on a personal level, we know how much he cares about his wife, who he's been with since, together since they were in the 8th grade, right? Like, and then his
I think it was
children.
like Ryan always talks about how they were like on the same youth baseball team together. Like, they have pictures of them, like, and her dad was the coach. Like, it's unbelievable.
Right. And then what, his feeling towards his kids and how invested he is with them. And then with these guys and that's what, that's what I liked about this matchup. You got two really authentic coaches, both played the sport, both understand where these kids are, have done a really good job of adapting hard school, like a hardcore old school mentality within this generational population of athlete that's a little bit different than when we grew up or even older people grew up, but they still crave the same thing. And I think they've all done it authentically their own way, which is why these programs are successful. But to your point, Bob, but just the feeling of that day, but that picture of Fryer picking him up after that, like that really resonates with me because I know that's what he cares about the most is his guys, and his guys care about him. And you go back to us and trust and like our conversation when we're on the couch on It's All About the Team, like that guy genuinely cared about us and we were so crazy and so different, but he individually cared about all of us and trust was so great at the relationship. That's why it all worked. And Ryan is very similar in that regard in his care for his athletes. And I really appreciate that about him.
It is. And you can see you can see the realness and how much that resonates. And those guys all know his story. And there was probably some of them that knew that going into that game. And to see everything there and then that connectivity, man, like that's what makes a great head coach. And we always go to the adage, like they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And Ryan cares a hell of a lot for his players, and they can feel that. And they wanted to win that game, I think, as much for him as they wanted to win it for themselves, just knowing everything that had come with it. And as much as joy Ryan got from that, there was probably a little bit of relief too, knowing that he'd finally gotten it done. And he wanted to win it for the guys because of everything they've been through. Like it's a circular reference, and It's absolutely tremendous. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about how good Ryan Day has been. And for those of you who don't know, it is historically good. You're coming up next in Headlines.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you tune in.
I love you, Cleveland.
All right, welcome back into the show. We got our headlines now, and we start talking about Ryan Day and how good he's been historically. He has been historically good. He finally has the national championship to back it up because wins are important, but you want to get the right wins. And if we can throw that up there, Pat, you look at how good he has. Walter Camp has the best winning percentages ever, all time. It's like 9.75 something. But Newt Rockne is basically the gold standard in college football. And I think this is like a minimum 70 games. And Newt Rockne's at 881, which is wild. Ryan Day right on his heels at 875. Right ahead of Frank Leahy at 864. He's 70-10. And you look at now his top 5 record, Schlegs, which That was the narrative this year. Couldn't win the top 5 games. Boom, won 5 games against top 5 teams. Like, absolutely remarkable run. And people say, we had more games. Well, yeah, they had more games to play, but they beat them all. Like, and they won. They didn't lose them. So we've made this joke. You'll like this, Schlegs, on at the Roosters show today, and you look at like all the teams in the top 5. This year they played. Oregon X out. Texas X out. Penn State X out. Tennessee boom. Notre Dame boom. And there was like a space. Like Indiana was in there. And Ohio State, like, you can't beat yourself. And Ryan beat every team but Georgia. Maybe even against Michigan, maybe even you beat yourself out there too. So took care of business in a lot of ways.
Yeah. If I just look at that photo and I just see a black and white photo, a colored photo, and a black and white photo. All these are done a long time ago, right? And college football has changed dramatically since those times. And we even go back to like winning national championships and how many were there, pre-World War II versus where they are now and what Ohio State has done, but what Ryan Day has done. And then you brought this up, Bob, but just think of the 2000s, like your coach, Jim Tressel, wins a national championship. Next hire, Urban Meyer wins a national championship. Next hire, Ryan Day wins a national championship. You got 3 back-to-back head coach hires that won a national championship. And that's very, very impressive. And you and I went back. Again, Bob, you and I have been talking about this. So we're definitely not a show that is going to just, lord it over people as to, the quick hitters and the clickbait. We just try to keep it as real as possible. But Kirby Smart was in his year 6 before he won. And against his rival was 1-6. And that I'm not displacing what the rivalry means, but it's just a fact. And Ryan Day did it in year 6, and he has won those games. Like, you can't skew the statistics, right? To like create your own narrative. The narrative is this: like, yes, he came into this season, I think it was 2-4 or 2-5 versus that type of competition, and they won 5 of them. And not only that though, but if you look at the run at the end of the year, it was Penn State, then Indiana, then Michigan, then Tennessee, then Oregon, then Texas, then Notre Dame. You lost the Michigan one, but of those 7, you won 6 of them. And they were all top 5 at the time, except for Tennessee.
Yeah,
that's the reality of this. That's the reality of the situation. So just the run, like this last 6 weeks, 2 months of football for Ohio State and what they had to do to win a national championship, that is remarkable in and of itself. But that also goes all the way back into the winter and preparing for spring football, into the summer and preparing for camp, into the load management and how are you going to handle your roster. And guess what, guys? Times are changing too. How are you going to adapt with 105 scholarship-only athletes now in those practices? It's going to start to turn very NFL-esque. Though they do it with 70, you're going to do it with 105. So how are you going to even change that script during practice is critical. But it also goes back to what they've been able to done and why Q said this place is different. You're going to have great depth, 1, to be able to practice, 2, to be able to manage that load as you go throughout a season to take the wear and tear off a guy's body when you're continually playing 16-game seasons.
Yeah, it's all right there, Slikes. We got time, I think, for one more. We'll talk about the Ohio against the world, and this is something where these guys internalize things, Slikes. And this was a big deal. And Chip came out and said this, and they talk about it, and we talk about Ohio against the world. At times, it felt like it was the Woody Hayes, the Woody against the world, because it was just us. And when you're in there, man, and like you feel like the world's collapsing. Like you get in that facility, and you can feel the tension in there sometimes. But they're going in there, and they're going into work, and they're going in there to win. And that's when things get tight, man. You lean into each other. And that helps that helps this team. And it felt like that's what happened after that Michigan loss.
Yeah, what a great story, because this can also be your family, right? It could be your business, it could be whatever. And we talked about it yesterday on the show about just the guy's mindset. And Ryan alluded to like Rats just going in there, focusing on the mission. Jack talked about we chose option B to be the team that we knew we could be. And that's that mindset. And again, kudos to the coaches to, immersing themselves in that and extracting that from the guys. But it always goes back to the players. And when you collectively come up and say, it is us, right? It is us. We're the ones that can write our own script in this, and how we're going to go about doing it and executing. Like, that's what really matters more so than anything else. And they did a phenomenal job. The coaches believed in them. They believed in the coaches, but more importantly, the players believed in one another. And that's why you're able to go on this historic run and win the first college football playoff, 12-team playoff.
All right. That's it for our headlines today. Come up next week, answer your questions and comments as we get into Tailgate Talk here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.
Get the most out of work, life, and all your outdoor adventures with top-selling upgrades for your truck. Guaranteed fit, free shipping, easy install, expert support, and thousands of dealers just a click away. Bring your truck to life. Real Truck. Upgrade today and save between $50 and $400 on select Real Truck products. Visit realtruck.com/specials.
Oh, man, so we got a lot of great comments in here for our Tailgate Talk, which is brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. You want to bring your truck, Jeep, Bronco to life, go to realtruck.com. They've got unbelievable products there. Whether you want to get a cover for your truck, you get some stuff for the interior of your car, the exterior, they have it all, winches, bumpers, Jeep tops, like everything you think of, seat covers, which I need to get for my Jeep, by the way. That is on.
Carhartt camo, baby.
Is on the list to order. All right, we don't have a whole lot of time today, Schlegs, but
do it.
I want to get to. Number one, and we'll start at the top here from the comments from yesterday's show. This comes from Jeff C8136. Said you're both won championships. Being older now, is it more satisfying watching these young men reach their goals than when you won it yourselves?
I think as a dad and as a coach, it is, because you knew how hard it was to get there and you've been through it, and you want them to feel what you felt. You know what I mean? Like, that's why we parent, right? That's why we allow discipline with our children. Like, we don't want them to make the same mistakes we have, but we also want to feel and experience the successes that we've had. And when you could turn those learning moments into success, like, that's the beauty of being a coach and a parent. And that's all we care about for these guys. It's a servant mentality if you coach, and we want them to experience that. So when I got a call, it was like, I don't know, 1:00 in the morning from the bus from Dr. Dan, and he's on there, and it's like Peoples and all the dudes are in there. Like, I'm just shirtless because they got me out of bed to go FaceTime. Like, that was it. That filled my bucket. Like, I didn't need to.
Was that night? They got
that night.
Yes.
That was that night. Dr. Dan, man, like, he runs all the sports science at Ohio State. He was on the bus. The dudes were on there. And, like, that filled my bucket, because that's why we do what we do, guys. Like, we do it for them to experience those things. And though it's great while you go through it and we can reminisce it down the road, it's just so much more rewarding to know that these guys got to experience the life change of being a champion.
All right. Gosh, there's a couple more on here that we got. I mean, tomorrow's show, we're going to have to do a lot of this. Because, I want to make sure we have some time. We'll do one more from Chef Briank. Chef Briank. I said I have a video of Bobby collecting confetti off the field I took from the TV feed on my big screen. Thought it was a nut job security guy getting ready to go to the local Atlanta bars to sell pieces of it to Buckeye fans who couldn't get in the field. Thought it was just Bobby. Put it on my Facebook feed. You were wearing a blue vest and a red shirt. And you red shirt, weren't you, Bobby? That was actually not me. I didn't have a blue. Why would I be wearing? Hold up. Why would I be wearing a blue vest? I guess it was gray, and the shirt underneath I had was a long sleeve Ohio State shirt that I got from the Roosters golf outing. So I got that. I do have the confetti, and I got the confetti. I showed it here. My kids were loving it. They're about. I got to get a couple hats and everything from Kevin Schlegs for the boys because they love that stuff.
Kevin's the best.
Yeah, it wasn't me out there. I did get it though, with that, but I would not be wearing a blue shirt, a blue vest to Ohio State game. That is not a selection set. I didn't bring anything blue Schlegs to that game on purpose. So, yeah, we got to do that. We were quick for a break. We got a lot of great comments tomorrow, so make sure you guys throw some more in this, and we'll keep getting to this. All right, we're going to wrap up the show with Schlegs parting thoughts. All right, Schlegs, your parting thoughts. Let's get after
Parting thoughts. Throw it up there, Pat, because this is impactful. Will Howard said, "I can't believe God gave me the chance to be a Buckeye." Our guy, Jim Tressel, came and spoke to the team and said those exact words. And Will and myself are testaments to this because we didn't start out at Ohio State. And Ohio State dramatically changed the trajectory of my life. It's dramatically changed the trajectory of Will Howard's life. And for all the guys that grew up in and around Ohio State football, like Bobby and Jack Sawyer and those guys, for us that came in from another state, it also shows the significance of the culture that Ryan Day has at Ohio State, carried on from Urban Meyer, carried on from Jim Tressel. It's what an opportunity. And when he said this on TV, my wife and I are sitting there and she's like, "That's how you feel?" I'm like, "No shit. That's exactly how I feel." And I'm so grateful that God made me a Buckeye. I'm proud of Will. I'm proud of the team. And it is life-changing when you are a Buckeye.
It's amazing. In his comments, he even referenced Tress saying that.
I did.
Yeah, were you there? Were you there when he said it that day?
100%. Yeah, it was in the offseason. And I mean, Bob, like it gives you chills when you think about it, because that's a guy, came from Youngstown State, won a lot of college championships at Youngstown, came to Ohio State. I mean, he wears a sweater vest that has an O and a Y on it. Like he is all Ohio all the time, but is so proud that God gave him a chance to be a Buckeye and to lead the Buckeye football team and what that embodies. And in 2024, 2025, for young people to understand the significance of what that does for you in your life. And you and I talk to players all the time, Bob, about this. It is life-changing, not only from the friendships that you have in the building and how that sustains with you for the remainder of your life, like you and me and AJ and James and all the guys that I coach that live in the town that we converse with on a daily. It is impactful, but just what it does for the rest of your life is so, and you don't see it in the moment, but I'm glad that Will has grasped that at an early age, but that's also because of the culture. And that's how we feel, man. When you're in the weeds of it every day, man, it's like, God, I just thank you that you allowed me to be a Buckeye.
It's pretty amazing. It was awesome to see him after the game. And just, I give him a hug and just, honestly,
I'm glad that Will Howard was a Buckeye.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thank you for being him, for being you, being a leader. So Buckeyes, we got more great things. We got a lot of great comments, a lot of great questions, a lot of great stuff to get to. We'll be locked in live, 12:30 tomorrow on the Bobby Carpenter Show.